Let me put you back together.
This is by, I'll just say evolved, bro. This is by evolved, bro. Could humans survive the, the dinosaur era in Netherlands versus dinosaur, bro? I think no, because dinosaurs are like just way too overpowered. Yo, big boy, thanks for the follow, or boys, or something like that.
Could early humans, specifically Neanderthals, survive in the Mesozoic? We'll be taking an exceptionally large group of 100 Homo neanderthalensis and putting them in the Morrison Formation of late Jurassic North America. Will their spears, usage of fire, and sociality be enough to keep them alive in a world dominated by carnivorous monsters and walking earthquakes? We'll cover how they handle the 3 H's: the environment of their new home, dealing with hunger, and defending themselves against the hanger of native...
I'm pretty sure 90% of those cavemans or whatever died because of hunger, bro.
Predators and competitors. Each category will be ranked on a scale of 1 to 10, which will contribute to their final Thrive or Eaten Alive score. A 1 means they'd swiftly go extinct, completely.
It's supposed to be Big Boy Jay, but my spelling is so ass. Oh, well, what's good, Jay? I'll call you Jay. How about Jay? You like
outmatched by the native fauna. A 5 means they'd maintain a stable population without making big waves ecologically. And a 10 means they'd completely destroy their competitors, carving out a niche as the...
Bro, listen. Nobody on this earth is beating a dinosaur, bro. Like, listen, bro. Listen. If you've seen Jurassic Park or any of the movies, if you know, bro. None of us are winning, bro. None of us.
Apex organism.
Nah, I'd win. Squirrel, I feel like you would get eaten first. I'm not gonna lie.
If this sounds familiar, that's because it's a fusion of my old Thrive or Eaten Alive system and
Suki, you would be a midnight snack. Cut it out.
Sadly Mesozoic's assessing survival score. Go check out his channel and the Overseer after this video if you haven't already. This speculative ecology niche is one that we've really enjoyed working with each other in, and if you support one of us, you support all of us. Now, will the
Vic, what are you talking about?
Neanderthals thrive or get eaten alive?
Bro, listen, chat. One T-Rex is tearing down like bro. If they put a T-Rex in New York, bro, that thing is dominating, bro. Mind you, it's gonna have so much food. It's gonna be like hyperactive, and it's gonna be like tearing everything up, bro. I'm not gonna lie. The human, like literally everybody in New York would have to evacuate.
Let's cover what we think we know about Neanderthals before tossing them into the Jurassic period. They appeared around 400,000 years ago and disappeared about 40,000 years ago.
Okay, Squirrel.
Our population
okay,
will come from the center of that timeline, when the Middle Paleolithic groups had developed one-handed stabbing spears that could also be thrown. Neanderthals often get a bad rap in modern...
Oh yeah, chat. Make sure you download... There's a go-to-game mobile game. It's called Cookie Run Kingdom. Make sure you download it, bro. Listen, I've been playing the game for the past couple of days. That's why I'm kind of slacking on uploads. I was slacking on uploads for those couple of days. But listen, it's a P game, bro. Download it, bro.
Modern pop culture, to the point where calling someone a Neanderthal is seen as an insult to their intelligence. But these early humans could make simple clothes, spears with tar and stone tips, and even simple boats seaworthy enough to travel across from the Greek mainland to the Ionian Isles as early as 110,000 years ago. Being dull isn't the only inaccurate stereotype.
Yeah, make sure you join the Hollyberry server, bro. Listen, it's peak, bro.
While Neanderthals were certainly more adapted for cold environments than Homo sapiens with their larger fat deposits and higher muscle mass, recent research indicates that their heavily muscled bodies and long limbs developed as assets in woodland ambushes. They even lived as far south as Jerusalem, although the area was much cooler and more humid than it is today. They were sprinters with high explosive power, gathering in groups to hunt large animals and engage in brutal melee. Their tendency to confront large prey in close quarters shows up in extreme fracture pathology.
Bro, I'm pretty sure these guys won't even be able to take on a hippo, bro. Come on now.
And the high mortality rate in young adults.
Well, I'll see you later on Samba, bro. Take care, bro.
Sapiens. This dispelled the myth that Neanderthals were more prone than Homo sapiens to suffer cranial injuries, and instead showed that Pleistocene life was extraordinarily dangerous for just about everybody. Neanderthals regularly hunted 13-ton straight-tusked elephants, and ate the tongue, brain, and fatty foot deposits in addition to muscle. Some of them lived in large communities year-round at the Neumark Nord sites in western Germany, targeting old bull elephants that wandered in the area without the defense of a herd. Regarding the amount of time a Neanderthal group of foragers would need to skin, strip meat from bones, and dry or smoke the meat from an adult male P. antiquus, we suggest as a very rough estimate that this could be done in 3 to 5 days, if 25 individuals were involved in the process, from Godzinski, Windhauser et al. 2023.
True.
That would have provided enough food to last that group of 25 people 3 months. The annual nature of this practice, and the large number of people required to process the meat, indicates bigger groups than previously thought, perhaps between 50 and 100 people together. They would have hunted by using spears. There's no evidence of Neanderthals using either pits or long-range weapons like bows or atlatls. The closest they ever got were simple javelins at the end of the Paleolithic. They did, however, use fire, both for cooking and for vegetation control. They do not appear to have been able to consistently start fires. Rather, vast amounts of ash in a single location indicate that they took wildfires and made their own hearths, keeping the embers alive because they weren't sure how to start them again. This is supported by the fact that they used less fire during cold seasons when it would have been more advantageous, and more fire during dry warm seasons when vegetation would have caught on fire naturally more often.
Right.
This may be the last ad you ever see.
I wish it wasn't the first ad I saw, bro. We was doing just fine before he popped on my screen, bro. Get off my screen.
The idea is that if they could control fire making, they wouldn't have created such gigantic hearth flames, instead making small fires whenever they needed them. It's controversial either way. For this video, we'll say that Neanderthals would not have consistent control of fire, since the evidence for that is ambiguous at best. Dental studies on Neanderthal remains show that they were quite varied in their diet based on location.
Bro, no, bro. Those people back then had no dental care, bro. No, they breath stunk, bro. Let's be honest.
Spanish populations ate very little meat with high amounts of mushrooms, pine nuts, and moss. More eastern groups were far more carnivorous. They were even known to hunt European cave and brown bears, although the behavior was quite rare. This flexibility will help them quite a bit in the Morrison. Now that we know the basics about today's test subject, let's look at their new home. Remember that catchy acronym from earlier? The Morrison Formation refers to a massive rock unit composed of late Jurassic layers from western North America, in states like Idaho, Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and a wee little bit of Oklahoma. It represents approximately 10 million years of Earth's history, which is a lot to cover in a YouTube video, so I'll take a composite approach for simplicity's sake. As our Neanderthal group emerges through the portal, which they were
Vic, how do you know this, bro? How do you know this, bro?
bribed handsomely to enter, they'd notice a sudden sweltering heat beating down on the enormous floodplain they now found themselves in. The Morrison was an arid riparian basin, filled with conifers, cycads, and ferns that lived alongside the edges of vast intertwining rivers. It ranged from 7 to 10 Celsius on average in the winters to 36 to 40 Celsius on average in the summers, showing a strong seasonality in terms of temperature without ever reaching freezing. It was, quite generally, hot. The temperature would be an issue. Neanderthals lived in late Pleistocene Eurasia in between various glacial maxima, and were more accustomed to temperatures either
He has ADHD, that's how he knows.
comparable to today,
So true.
or as low as 14 Celsius below
Oh no, I'm learning. Bro, listen, bro, take a seat, bro. Take a seat. This was actually requested on YouTube, to be honest.
today's averages. Summer temperatures in modern Germany, where many important Neanderthal elephant kill sites are from, are typically 25 Celsius or 77 Fahrenheit, with winters plummeting to an average of -9 Celsius or 15 Fahrenheit. These are
I could not live back then, bro. Listen, just imagine, like, you live in a cave and you, like, freezing your ass off. I don't even... Listen, I like the cold, but I don't like freezing, bro. Come on now.
humans with their cold-adapted fat storage would struggle to deal with the brutal heat, and would need to find areas to shelter as quickly as possible. Perhaps cliffside caves if available, or using the bones of dead sauropods to build shelters like they did with mammoth remains. The climate would drive their need for drinking water way up, forcing them to expose themselves to the dangers of this new environment just to stay alive. While rare open-air home bases are documented from the Middle East, Neanderthals definitely preferred to stay in caves for protection and stability. In such a sweltering, dry, and flat environment, drastically different from the mountains,
You kind of wish I was born or earlier. You mean you want to be born back then? Nah, you're a demon.
dense woodlands and grasslands they were used to, it would be difficult to find safe places to stay. They get a home score of
Squirrel, if you were born back then, you know what that means. No blue lock, bro. No blue lock. Alright, glad I was born not then, bro. Then, because I wouldn't survive a day. Bro, I would be cooked. I'm not gonna lie. Listen, I would be cooked. I understand I would be cooked. I would not be able to last, bro. Listen, bro. No, bro. I would not be able to last, bro. I'm sorry. I can't do it.
4 out of 10. What about hunger? Flowering plants had not yet evolved, so spore-producing
Y'all tripping?
gymnosperms
So true,
dominated.
bro.
These included tiny avascular bryophytes, horsetails, which are incredibly nutritious but too silica-rich and toxic for most men,
Horsetails? What?
ferns, cycads, ginkgos, and conifers, or cone-bearing trees, all of which would have congregated around the winding rivers of the Titanic floodplain. Neanderthals are no strangers to eating a wide variety of foods. For goodness sake, they would even eat moss and tree bark. So while the switch up of flora would be bizarre, I doubt it would cause any major trouble. These guys are perfectly happy eating mostly meat anyway, and specialized in taking down big vegivores like mammoths or elephants in close quarters combat. So out of the abundant herbivores living in the Morrison, which would they be most likely to turn into dinner? First off, they'd be more than happy to snack on the lizards, lungfish, sphenodontids, snakes.
Maybe not. I don't know. Like, would be used to it. I mean, yeah, but like at the same time, like you wouldn't like it. You know what I'm saying? Like you probably wouldn't like it because back then there was like bigger bugs. You know, yo, listen. Imagine you asleep, bro. Could you deal with a huge ass spider crawling up your leg? Right, mind you, this spider is bigger than your hand, and it's like a normal baby spider. Could you deal with that? I couldn't. No, sir. No, thank you.
Small mammals and turtles in the area. But if a 10-ton straight-tusked elephant would provide enough meat for 100 people for 3 weeks, they need to go on serious hunts after the Morrison's big game prizes if they wanted to keep a sustainable population. Camptosaurus, a horse-sized ornithopod, might be on the menu from time to time, since it only had a sprinting speed of 25 kilometers an hour or 15.
Well, yeah, and you wouldn't know what you're missing out of the luxury. That is true, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That is very true. I just still couldn't do it, bro. I feel like Suki would like. I feel like you guys. I'm not gonna lie, chat. I feel like Suki and Oni would be great back then. I want to say in the present. I feel like you guys would be perfect back then. You know what I'm saying?
15 miles an hour, the sprinter-built Neanderthals might be able to ambush one if they hid behind trees. But with a maximum weight of about a ton, Camptosaurus wouldn't be worth the effort for such a big group.
They wouldn't be able to deal with it. They would probably just kill it.
Gargoyleosaurus and Mimorapelta are similar enough to come
What
as
does a
package
spider
deal.
got to...
Heavily armored quadrupedal nodosaurs, they were low to the ground and weighed 300 to 700 plus kilograms. Again, the
What's that supposed to mean? Nothing. My bad. Nothing.
Stegosaurus is much larger, with big individuals easily surpassing 8 tons. That's nearly Paleoloxodon tier in terms of food, but pound for pound, it's much more dangerous. Its higher agility combined with 3-foot tail spikes makes it a death sentence to approach from the rear or side, making ambushes very difficult to pull off. Neanderthals' lack of highly effective long-range weapons makes them confront their prey head-on. While they might go after Stegosaurus if they're truly desperate, they'd probably lose a significant portion of their available hunters in a single attempt.
Listen, Rat, you go after a dinosaur, bros, they're losing half of their population, bro. Dude, listen, chat. Imagine your group of people, right? You guys need food, right? They tell you you are the top hunters and you need to go fight that T-Rex. Would you do it? Sure, I sure wouldn't, bro. You lost me at Big Bug.
Or the sauropods, I should say. The Morrison is infamous for hosting a ridiculous diversity of large sauropods, to the point where paleontologists question how such an arid environment could support so many different animals that made elephants look like dog toys. Haplocanthosaurus was one of the more diminutive members of the Morrison sauropod family, at 14 meters and 12.8 tons. Yeah, that's one of the smallest. Diplodocus was somewhat heavier and much longer, with the larger species at up to 26 meters and 21 tons. Camarasaurus supremus hits 17 to 18 tons. Then there are Supersaurus and Apatosaurus, the Kenton giant, which maxed out at 55 and 50 plus tons respectively. Brachiosaurus would probably be the most threatening, given how...
Hold on, chat. Give me a minute. Okay. Because people keep on spam leaving and joining, bro. I don't understand.
How high its vulnerable areas are off the ground and how solidly built it was. Given the extremely high fatality rate suffered by Neanderthals when attacking animals a fraction of those sizes, it may not be the most wise decision to attack even a lone adult of the bigger sauropod genera.
Okay, bro. Let me do this, chat. Give me a minute, chat. Volumes. I'm just gonna mute Discord entirely, bro. You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm just gonna mute Discord entirely, bro.
Present in Morrison. One sweep of the tail or stump of the foot would be instant death, possibly for multiple hunters at a time. And
no, it would be instant death. There's no way around it. That would be instant death.
And spears would be like toothpicks at that scale. That's not accounting for potential herding behavior, stampedes, etc. Haplocanthosaurus then would be the best choice for them to take on. At about the same size as an exceptionally large bull elephant, but without the tusks, Haplo presents less of a threat than the other giants in the area while still providing enough meat for nearly a month. Casualties among the hunters are, of course, inevitable. A single hit from any part of this animal's body is still an instant kill to a 5'5" human, and it's not just going to stand there and let them pepper it with spears. A small sauropod is still like a semi-truck on legs. Targeting the juveniles would certainly be easier, but wouldn't match the calorie profile that Neanderthals were known to go for in the Pleistocene. Considering the narrow window of prey items that A, don't have insane weaponry, and B, are big enough to provide food without being unkillable, the Neanderthal tribe gets a 6 out of 10 for hunger. Small animals will help hold off starvation, but it's difficult to find a suitable replacement for mammoths and elephants that won't also result in their entire hunting party getting trampled into paste. The Morrison does not mess around when it comes to dangerous herbivores. What about
Bro, is this AI, bro? I feel like this is AI, bro.
the hanger?
Right now, you can get 4 free phones plus 4 lines for $90 with no trade-in.
Are we having the wool pulled over our eyes?
Bro,
No.
I don't
And you get
care.
the
I
latest
don't.
phones.
I don't need a new
Late
phone,
Jurassic
bro.
North America was chock full of deadly predators, including more than half a dozen crocodile species like Amphicotylos, which was large enough to prey on human-sized animals and would have lurked in the water.
Alright, there we go.
But you clicked on this video for the theropods, didn't you? Ceratosaurus, by Pleistocene standards, was enormous. Big individuals could exceed 1,000 kilograms, comparable to the very largest bears. Based on the location of shed teeth, it may have frequented watery areas and was more specialized to eat fish than other theropods in its environment, but would have also hunted and scavenged on land most of the time. If it did spend a lot of time around the water, it would be one of the primary threats to thirsty primates. Killing a bear that's groggy or hibernating in its cave is one thing. Taking down an osteoderm armored theropod that's fully aware of you is quite another. The Neanderthals would need to be very careful of where they chose to drink and collect water in order to avoid both crocodiles and roaming Ceratosaurus. Coelurus and Stoxosaurus, while present, were too small to target Neanderthal adults. Marchosaurus, on the other hand, was about the size of a lion and could have easily taken down an unarmed human. But the biggest problem here, from both a predation and competition perspective, is Allosaurus. Allosaurus, as the professionals say, was gosh darn everywhere. It made up 75% of the theropod population in the Morrison and was a rough and tumble grappler used to suffering a ton of injuries when fighting its prey. It used its wide gaping jaws and powerful arms to attack medium-sized
I'm not fighting that, bro. I don't care, bro. I'd rather starve than fight that, bro.
ornithopods and small sauropods, even occasionally going after Stegosaurus, despite the fossil record showing it rarely won that fight. Allosaurus was far larger than any big predators the Neanderthals would have encountered in the Pleistocene, and likely far more common as well. But the biggest issue is that Allosaurus would be going after the same prey items, putting them in direct competition. And if it was aggressive enough to attack a fully grown Stegosaurus, I wouldn't bet against it being more than willing to rip apart a Neanderthal hunting party as well. The juveniles had
To be
longer
honest, you're
legs
still
proportionally
Vic, you would
and would
die
have been
instantly,
faster
bro.
than the adults, and may have seen this sudden influx of medium-sized mammals as a perfect treat. While the spears and group tactics of the humans would absolutely take their fair share of Allosaurus casualties, the Allosaurids would simply keep coming thanks to their vicious lifestyle and hunting strategies. They would also reproduce far faster and in greater numbers than the Neanderthals, making them a tremendous threat. For perspective, look at the Champawat tigress. One single tiger is reported by Jim Corbett to have killed over 400 people in Nepal and India over a period of 7 years.
400
That was just
people
over
is
a
so
century
crazy,
ago,
bro.
And was a lone predator a fifth the size of the typical Allosaurus. Much more rare, but still worth mentioning, are Torvosaurus and Saurophaganax. Both 4 to 5 plus ton theropods with powerful arms, they likely wouldn't be as interested in humans as a food source, at least not when adults. Torvosaurus may have also spent more time around waterways based on shed teeth, making it a serious danger to watch out for in the riverside forest.
The only dinosaur I probably have a chance to defeat is those tiny ones that's fast. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, yeah, because all you gotta do is curve stomp it.
Both megatheropods would be going after the same large ornithopods and small sauropods as the Neanderthals, introducing yet another element of competition. While in Eurasia, Neanderthals niche partitioned with cave hyenas and went after the big prey while the hyenas hunted medium game. But in the Morrison, there's a giant predator for every size class. A single Saurophaganax or Torvosaurus has the firepower of an entire hunting party. Noting the high fatality rate among Neanderthal elephant hunts, an encounter with one of these fellas could be disastrous. Our hominid relatives get a 4 out of 10 for the hanger score. Going from an environment with small predators that don't hunt the same prey to a monsterscape with a variety of multi-ton flesh eaters fighting for the same niche, outlook not so good. Overall, the Neanderthal camp gets a Thrive or Eaten Alive score of 4.3, just below maintaining a stable population.
That's not
Their
bad,
low
that's not
replacement
bad.
Rate, cold weather adaptations,
Decent, though.
obligate tool use, and big game melee hunter niche would get them into trouble very quickly. What about domesticating the native predators, you might ask? While Neanderthals don't show any evidence of having domesticated animals, something Homo sapiens has done over and over again, this could be a fun thought experiment. Assuming they survived several generations, likely by finding defensible caves or forests to set up their bases in, they'd create a pattern of felling small sauropods in their hunts. That would attract opportunistic carnivores like Stoxosaurus, a wolf-sized tyrannosauroid too small to reliably hunt humans. Gradually, the Stoxosaurus population may learn that by following the Neanderthals around, they'd gain access to easy meat. While primitive tyrannosauroids were not as intelligent as wolves, this could lead to groups of small theropods viewing the humans as an ally rather than enemy. The presence of predatory packs around the Neanderthals may discourage larger predators from attacking them, Like how ants defend aphids, the Stoxosaurus would be motivated to protect their lucrative food source. Perhaps the Neanderthals would have fared better in other formations of the Mesozoic. The Morrison ultimately was too hot.
No, they wouldn't survive. Like, they wouldn't fare better anywhere else, bro, because they're still predators.
Too dry, and had far too much direct competition from predators that were not afraid to brazenly attack dangerous prey. Those factors, combined with the early humans' tendency for hand-to-hand combat and relatively long gestation time, proved to be their undoing, although they wouldn't go extinct without a good fight. If you'd like to see more speculative ecology like this, let me know in the comments. I'd also love to hear your thoughts.
That was pretty good.
On how
I'm not
else
gonna lie,
this
that was pretty
played out
fire.
and what formations the Neanderthals would have fared better or worse in. If you enjoy speculative ecology projects like this, you might enjoy my paleo fantasy series Extinction. It's an alternate Earth where ancient civilizations can psychically bond with prehistoric creatures, forming battle pairs and fighting to defend their territories in a war of gods, humans, and primeval monsters. You can download the first short stories for free by joining my newsletter with the link in the description. I'm the Vivinen, and I'll see you next time.
No, that was pretty dope.